Behind closed doors, a secret affair unfolds between a trusted coach and a vulnerable teenage student. What began as a forbidden love spiraled into deceit, betrayal, and murder, leaving a town shocked and searching for answers. In a quiet town where everyone knew each other, the last thing anyone expected was for a beloved coach to be accused of such a heinous crime. Known for his leadership and respected by the community, Coach Name was the last person anyone would suspect. But beneath the surface, a dark secret was brewing, a forbidden relationship with one of his teenage students. What started as an illicit affair soon turned deadly, as the coach found himself at the center of a murder investigation with evidence pointing directly at him. What was initially seen as a mentorship between a beloved coach and a promising student took a dark turn behind closed doors. As the affair between them grew more intense, the coach's carefully maintained facade began to crumble. When the unthinkable happens, a murder that rocks the community, the hidden relationship comes to light, casting a shadow over everything we thought we knew. Stay tuned as we unravel the shocking details of how this secret affair led to betrayal, tragedy, and a high-profile investigation that left everyone questioning the true extent of the coach's involvement. Coach Danyel Thompson was a name synonymous with success and integrity in the local high school sports community. With over a decade of coaching under his belt, Thompson had built a reputation as a dedicated and passionate mentor. His teams were known for their discipline, resilience, and sportsmanship, and he was celebrated not only for his impressive track record but also for his ability to inspire and connect with his athletes. Admired by students, parents, and colleagues alike, Thompson was considered a pillar of the community, someone who had the respect and trust of those around him. He was known for his approachable demeanor and his genuine interest in his students' well-being, often going beyond the call of duty to support them in their academic and personal lives. However, behind this facade of a model coach lay a more complex and troubling side. While his professional achievements and community standing were impeccable, it was his close relationships with certain students, particularly his charismatic and enigmatic interactions with them, that would eventually draw scrutiny. As the coach's life began to unravel, the very traits that once earned him admiration would come under intense scrutiny. Outside of his professional achievements, Coach Danyel Thompson's personal life was marked by a series of significant milestones and relationships that shaped his character. Born and raised in a small town, Thompson came from a modest background. His parents were hardworking individuals who instilled in him values of perseverance and dedication. Growing up, he was a standout athlete, which led him to pursue a career in coaching, a field he was passionate about from a young age. Thompson married his college sweetheart, Emily, shortly after graduating. The couple was well regarded in their community, known for their commitment to family values and their active involvement in local events. They had 2 children, a son and a daughter, who were often seen cheering on their father at games. The Thompsons' home life seemed stable and loving, providing a strong foundation that complemented his professional success. Despite this seemingly perfect life, there were underlying tensions. Thompson's demanding career sometimes strained his relationship with Emily, as he was often away for games and training sessions. Additionally, Thompson had faced a few personal setbacks, including a previous injury that had ended his own athletic career prematurely and a period of financial instability early in their marriage. These challenges, though not widely known, had a profound effect on him and added layers to his complex personality. As Thompson became more established in his career, his personal life appeared to stabilize, but the pressures of maintaining his public image and the lingering effects of his past struggles began to take their toll. Little did anyone know, these hidden pressures would soon contribute to a series of events that would unravel his life in ways no one could have anticipated. Coach Danyel Thompson was widely perceived as a charismatic and influential figure. Known for his magnetic presence, he had an uncanny ability to motivate and inspire those around him. His students admired him not just for his coaching skills, but for his genuine interest in their lives, often going beyond the role of a mentor to become a trusted confidant. Colleagues respected him for his dedication and work ethic, viewing him as a pillar of strength within the school's sports program. Thompson's charm and affability were his trademarks. He was the type of person who could light up a room with his enthusiasm and engage anyone in conversation with ease. His ability to connect with people on a personal level made him a beloved figure in the community, and his public persona seemed almost flawless. He was often seen as a father figure to his athletes, someone who offered guidance and support, creating an environment where students felt valued and understood. However, beneath this polished exterior, there were signs of inner conflicts. Those who knew him well noticed occasional flashes of frustration and vulnerability, which were often dismissed as stress related to his demanding job. His constant drive for perfection and his struggle to balance his professional and personal lives sometimes led to periods of anxiety and emotional strain. Despite his outward confidence, there were moments when he seemed distant or preoccupied, hinting at unresolved issues that he kept hidden from most. This duality in Thompson's personality, his public charm and his private struggles, made him a complex figure. While he excelled at presenting an image of success and reliability, the pressures and personal challenges he faced quietly gnawed at him, setting the stage for the eventual unraveling of his life. The student at the center of the scandal was 17-year-old Ethan Mitchell, a promising high school junior with a bright future ahead. Ethan came from a supportive and middle-class family. His parents, Karen and David Mitchell, were actively involved in his life, attending school events and encouraging his academic and extracurricular pursuits. Ethan had a younger sister who looked up to him as a role model. At school, Ethan was known for his academic excellence and athletic prowess. He was a standout in both academics and sports, particularly in track and field, where he showed remarkable potential. His teachers described him as diligent, focused, and naturally talented, with a reputation for being both hardworking and humble. Despite his successes, Ethan struggled with typical teenage insecurities and a desire to prove himself, which sometimes made him vulnerable to external influences. Ethan was also known for his friendly and approachable demeanor. He had a close-knit group of friends and was involved in several school clubs and activities. He was well-liked by his peers, admired for his positive attitude and willingness to help others. His teachers and coaches saw him as a dedicated student with a promising future, someone who had the potential to achieve great things both academically and athletically. His ambitions included pursuing a career in sports or possibly a related field like sports management or coaching. Ethan's dreams were fueled by his passion for athletics and his desire to make a meaningful impact in his chosen field. However, beneath his confident exterior, Ethan struggled with the pressures of maintaining high standards and meeting the expectations set by his family and himself. This inner conflict made him particularly susceptible to the emotional influence of someone he respected and admired, Coach Thompson. Ethan Mitchell first met Coach Danyel Thompson during his sophomore year, when Thompson was assigned as the new track and field coach at the high school. Ethan, already a talented athlete with a passion for running, was eager to learn from someone with Thompson's esteemed reputation. The initial meeting was professional and straightforward. Thompson was impressed by Ethan's dedication and natural ability, and Ethan admired the coach's credentials and approachable demeanor. As the season progressed, their interactions grew more personal. Thompson took a special interest in Ethan's development, often staying after practice to provide extra coaching and advice. He recognized Ethan's potential and made an effort to offer tailored guidance, which Ethan greatly appreciated. Their one-on-one sessions became a regular feature, where they discussed not only athletic techniques but also Ethan's academic goals and personal aspirations. This mentorship extended beyond the track. Thompson became a trusted figure in Ethan's life, someone who provided support and encouragement. Their relationship deepened over time as they shared more personal stories and experiences. Thompson was attentive to Ethan's struggles and triumphs, creating a bond that went beyond the typical student-coach dynamic. This growing closeness was marked by frequent conversations about Ethan's future, his dreams, and his challenges. Thompson's empathy and understanding made Ethan feel valued and heard, fostering a sense of emotional connection. However, this closeness began to blur the lines between professional mentorship and personal involvement. Thompson started to confide in Ethan about his own struggles and frustrations, creating a sense of mutual vulnerability. As the bond strengthened, their interactions became more frequent and more intimate, setting the stage for the development of a secret and inappropriate relationship. What began as a mentor-student connection evolved into a complex and clandestine affair, driven by the emotional intimacy they had built over time. Ethan Mitchell's vulnerability played a significant role in making him susceptible to Coach Thompson's influence. Despite his outward success, Ethan grappled with several emotional and personal struggles that weighed heavily on him. Firstly, Ethan faced intense pressure to excel both academically and athletically. His parents had high expectations for him, and he was driven by a strong desire to meet those standards. This pressure sometimes led to feelings of self-doubt and anxiety, particularly when he feared that he might not live up to his own and his family's expectations. The stress of maintaining top performance in both school and sports created a constant underlying tension in his life. Socially, Ethan struggled with typical teenage insecurities. While he was popular among his peers and had a supportive group of friends, he often felt isolated in his achievements and ambitions. He longed for deeper connections and understanding from those around him, which sometimes made him feel disconnected from his peers who might not fully grasp the pressures he faced. Additionally, Ethan experienced a sense of isolation due to his intense focus on sports and academics. His commitment to training and studying left him with little time for a social life, and he sometimes felt alienated from friends who were less driven or more interested in socializing. This lack of a strong support network made him more reliant on the connections he formed with authority figures like Coach Thompson. The combination of high expectations, personal insecurities, and a feeling of isolation made Ethan particularly vulnerable. Coach Thompson's attentive and empathetic approach initially seemed like a lifeline, providing Ethan with the emotional support and understanding he craved. This emotional connection, while seemingly supportive, ultimately set the stage for the development of their inappropriate relationship. The transition from a professional mentorship to a personal affair between Coach Thompson and Ethan Mitchell was gradual and complex, marked by an evolving emotional connection that blurred the lines between mentor and student. Initially, their relationship was purely professional. Coach Thompson provided Ethan with extra guidance and support in track and field, and their interactions were limited to practice sessions and occasional one-on-one meetings. However, as Thompson spent more time with Ethan, he began to notice the student's vulnerability and emotional needs, which resonated with his own struggles and frustrations. Their bond started to deepen during these extra coaching sessions. Thompson began sharing more about his personal life, revealing his own challenges and setbacks, which created a sense of mutual understanding and empathy. Ethan, in turn, felt increasingly comfortable opening up about his own pressures and insecurities. This exchange of personal stories and vulnerabilities fostered a stronger emotional connection between them. As the months passed, their conversations became more intimate and frequent. They began discussing not just athletic strategies, but also personal issues and dreams. Thompson's supportive and empathetic nature made Ethan feel uniquely understood and valued, a feeling he had been missing elsewhere in his life. This emotional closeness began to take on a more personal and affectionate tone. One pivotal moment occurred during a particularly challenging period for Ethan. Struggling with academic pressure and a personal crisis, he sought solace from Thompson. The coach provided an unusually high level of comfort and reassurance, crossing professional boundaries in a way that intensified their emotional connection. This moment of vulnerability for Ethan, combined with Thompson's increased affection and personal attention, marked the beginning of their deeper relationship. As their emotional bond strengthened, the nature of their interactions shifted. The once clear boundaries of mentorship became blurred, and their relationship gradually became more intimate. They started to share more private moments together, and their physical proximity increased, leading to a clandestine affair. This transition was driven by the strong emotional connection they had developed, as well as their mutual need for comfort and understanding. The affair, once an unintended consequence of their deepening relationship, soon became a central, secret part of their lives. It was marked by a sense of forbidden excitement and emotional fulfillment, but also by increasing complexity and risk as they struggled to maintain the secrecy of their relationship. The affair between Coach Thompson and Ethan Mitchell was shrouded in secrecy from its inception, driven by the need to hide their relationship due to the coach's position and the student's age. Given Thompson's role as a coach and the significant power imbalance inherent in their relationship, maintaining discretion was crucial. The professional ethics and societal norms dictated that any romantic involvement between a coach and a student, especially one involving a minor, would be considered highly inappropriate and illegal. This pressure to keep their affair hidden was compounded by the risk of damaging Thompson's career and reputation, as well as the potential legal consequences. To conceal their relationship, Thompson and Ethan developed a meticulous plan to avoid detection. They arranged their meetings and interactions in ways that minimized the risk of discovery. Most of their private conversations and encounters took place off-campus or in secluded areas where they were unlikely to be seen by others. They used coded language and private references to discuss their relationship in a manner that would not raise suspicion among friends, family, or colleagues. They also relied on technology to maintain secrecy. Text messages and phone calls were kept discreet, often using burner phones or encrypted messaging apps to avoid leaving any trace of their communication. Whenever they met in person, they took great care to ensure that their whereabouts could not be easily traced or questioned. They avoided public displays of affection and made efforts to act normally in social settings, carefully managing their interactions to appear as a typical coach-student relationship to those around them. The affair's secrecy was further maintained by their deliberate attempts to avoid raising red flags. Thompson continued to fulfill his coaching responsibilities with his usual dedication, and Ethan kept up his academic and athletic performance without noticeable disruption. They both worked hard to ensure that their personal relationship did not interfere with their public personas or raise any suspicions among their peers or the community. Despite their efforts, the pressure of living a double life and the fear of exposure weighed heavily on both Thompson and Ethan. The need for secrecy created a complex and stressful situation, marked by the constant anxiety of potential discovery and the emotional toll of hiding a significant part of their lives. The relationship between Coach Thompson and Ethan Mitchell was not only marked by secrecy, but also by complex power dynamics and subtle forms of emotional manipulation. These elements played a crucial role in the development and maintenance of their affair. Power dynamics. Coach Thompson, as a mentor and authority figure, wielded significant influence over Ethan. This power imbalance was inherent in their professional relationship, with Thompson holding a position of authority and respect in the school environment. Ethan, being a student and athlete looking up to Thompson for guidance, was in a vulnerable position. This dynamic made it challenging for Ethan to question or resist Thompson's advances, as he was deeply invested in maintaining the coach's approval and support. Emotional manipulation. Targeting vulnerabilities. Thompson was astute in identifying and exploiting Ethan's emotional vulnerabilities. He was aware of Ethan's insecurities and the pressures he faced, both academically and personally. By positioning himself as a sympathetic listener and a source of comfort, Thompson was able to build a deep emotional connection with Ethan, making it difficult for the student to see the manipulation for what it was. Creating dependency. Thompson's attentiveness and support created a sense of emotional dependency in Ethan. The coach's constant reassurance and personal attention made Ethan feel valued and understood, reinforcing his reliance on Thompson for emotional support. This dependency blurred the lines between genuine care and manipulative control, making Ethan more susceptible to the coach's influence. Subtle coercion. Thompson used subtle forms of coercion to keep Ethan engaged in the affair. He would often frame his advances as expressions of concern or affection, masking his true intentions. For example, Thompson might have framed private meetings as necessary for Ethan's improvement or personal development, subtly encouraging the student to view their interactions as normal and acceptable. Emotional isolation. By deepening their personal bond, Thompson isolated Ethan from other sources of support. The coach's role as Ethan's primary confidant and emotional anchor meant that the student had fewer outlets for discussing his feelings or questioning the nature of their relationship. This isolation reinforced Ethan's dependence on Thompson and minimized the chances of external intervention. Guilt and justification. Thompson may have also used guilt as a tool to manipulate Ethan. For instance, the coach could frame his actions as a necessary response to Ethan's needs, making the student feel responsible for the situation or complicit in its continuation. This tactic further entangled Ethan in the affair, making it harder for him to extricate himself or seek help. Overall, the emotional manipulation in their relationship was deeply entwined with the power dynamics at play. Thompson's authoritative position and his understanding of Ethan's vulnerabilities allowed him to exert a controlling influence, making it challenging for Ethan to recognize or resist the manipulation. This complex interplay of power and emotion played a significant role in the development and continuation of their secret affair. As the affair between Coach Thompson and Ethan Mitchell progressed, several signs and events began to raise suspicions among those around them, eventually leading to questions about the nature of their relationship. 1. Unusual behavior. There were noticeable changes in both Thompson's and Ethan's behavior that started to attract attention. Thompson, typically known for his professionalism and focus, began exhibiting erratic and secretive behavior. He was seen frequently making private phone calls or sending texts, often during unusual hours. His demeanor became more distracted, and he seemed to be preoccupied or distant during public appearances and meetings. 2. Increased secrecy. Ethan's behavior also began to change. He started to become more guarded and less open with his friends and family. He was less willing to discuss his personal life or his interactions with Thompson, which was unusual given his previously open nature. Ethan's reluctance to talk about his time with the coach raised questions among those close to him, who noticed a shift in his openness. 3. Physical proximity. There were reports of Thompson and Ethan being seen together in private or unusual settings, such as secluded areas of the school or off-campus locations. Witnesses occasionally spotted them in situations that seemed out of the ordinary for a typical coach-student relationship, such as having extended private conversations or sharing personal moments in places where they would not normally be seen together. 4. Inconsistent stories. On a few occasions, their stories about their whereabouts or interactions did not align with each other's accounts. For instance, Ethan's friends or family might have seen him leaving with Thompson or heard conflicting explanations about why he was meeting with the coach outside of regular practice hours. These inconsistencies fueled speculation and concern about their relationship. 5. Changes in academic and athletic performance. Ethan's performance began to show signs of fluctuation. While he had been a top-performing student and athlete, there were periods where his focus and commitment appeared to wane. Some teachers and coaches noticed a decline in his enthusiasm and engagement, attributing it to potential personal issues. This change was subtle, but enough to spark conversations among staff about possible underlying problems. 6. Increased interaction with school authorities. There were instances when Thompson's increased involvement with school authorities or special meetings raised eyebrows. His frequent meetings with administrators, often under the guise of discussing Ethan's progress or concerns, seemed to coincide with the times when their interactions became more intense and secretive. 7. Whispers and rumors. As time went on, whispers and rumors began to circulate among students and faculty. Some began to speculate about the nature of Thompson's relationship with Ethan based on the observed changes in their behavior and the unusual circumstances surrounding their interactions. These rumors, although initially dismissed as gossip, started gaining traction and reached the ears of those in positions to investigate. Overall, these signs of trouble created a growing sense of unease and led to increased scrutiny of the relationship between Coach Thompson and Ethan. While the signs were initially subtle and open to interpretation, they collectively contributed to suspicions and concerns that eventually prompted a closer examination of their relationship. The affair between Coach Thompson and Ethan Mitchell remained hidden for a time, but a series of events eventually led to its exposure, dramatically affecting both the student and the coach. 1. Initial suspicion and investigation. The growing rumors and signs of trouble led to increased scrutiny from school administrators. Concerns raised by staff and students about Thompson's unusual behavior and the perceived closeness with Ethan prompted an internal investigation. Administrators began to review records and interview individuals who might have witnessed any inappropriate interactions or noticed changes in behavior. 2. The breakthrough. The investigation gained momentum when a concerned teacher or staff member reported a suspicious incident involving Thompson and Ethan. This incident might have included a private meeting observed in a secluded part of the school or a tip-off about inconsistent explanations regarding their interactions. This report provided the necessary grounds for a deeper investigation into their relationship. 3. Discovery of evidence. During the investigation, officials uncovered concrete evidence of the affair. This evidence included incriminating text messages or emails exchanged between Thompson and Ethan, which revealed the nature of their personal relationship. Additionally, security footage or witness accounts might have confirmed their clandestine meetings and private interactions. The discovery of this evidence was crucial in validating the suspicions and establishing the affair's reality. 4. Confrontation and exposure. Once the affair was confirmed, both Thompson and Ethan were confronted with the evidence. The exposure was a dramatic moment, with the school administration and possibly law enforcement involved in addressing the situation. Thompson faced immediate suspension or removal from his coaching position, while Ethan was subjected to intense scrutiny and questioning about his involvement. 5. Impact on the student. For Ethan, the exposure of the affair was emotionally devastating. The public revelation led to significant personal and social consequences. He faced judgment from peers, a potential backlash from the community, and the emotional trauma of having his private life exposed. The affair's impact on his academic performance and personal relationships was profound, as he struggled to cope with the fallout and the breach of trust. 6. Impact on the coach. Coach Thompson's exposure resulted in severe repercussions for his professional and personal life. He faced immediate dismissal from his coaching position and public disgrace. The affair damaged his reputation and led to potential legal consequences, including charges related to his inappropriate conduct with a minor. Thompson also dealt with significant personal and emotional fallout, including strained relationships with family and a loss of professional credibility. 7. Community reaction. The affair's exposure caused shockwaves throughout the community. The revelation led to widespread discussions about the ethical boundaries in coach-student relationships and the need for stringent safeguards. It also sparked a broader conversation about the responsibilities of educators and the vulnerabilities of students in such relationships. In summary, the affair between Coach Thompson and Ethan Mitchell was exposed through a combination of rumors, investigation, and concrete evidence. The revelation had far-reaching consequences for both the student and the coach, affecting their personal lives, professional careers, and the broader community. The scandal involving Coach Thompson and Ethan Mitchell had a profound impact on the school, the community, and the families involved. The school was thrown into turmoil following the scandal. Administrators faced intense scrutiny as they dealt with the immediate fallout. The once respected institution now found itself in the spotlight for failing to prevent such misconduct. The school had to manage not only the media frenzy, but also the concerns of parents and students. In response, the administration took steps to address the situation, including strengthening policies regarding staff-student interactions and enhancing their safeguarding measures. They also implemented support services to help students cope with the emotional impact of the scandal. The broader community was deeply affected by the news. The revelation stirred conversations about the ethical responsibilities of educators and the need for vigilant oversight in schools. There was a significant amount of public criticism directed at the school and its handling of the situation. Community members were concerned about how such a breach of trust could occur and what measures were necessary to prevent future incidents. The scandal prompted a reevaluation of community standards and the role of educational institutions in safeguarding students. The families involved faced tremendous challenges. Ethan Mitchell's family endured a difficult time as their son's personal life was exposed to public scrutiny. They grappled with the emotional stress and social stigma resulting from the affair. Supporting Ethan while managing the community's reaction was a complex and painful process for them. Coach Thompson's family also experienced significant distress. The fallout from the scandal not only affected Thompson's professional life, but also brought personal shame and social stigma to his family. They dealt with the repercussions of his actions, including strained relationships and the emotional toll of public judgment. In summary, the scandal had a wide-reaching impact, affecting the school's reputation, igniting community debates about ethical conduct, and placing immense pressure on the families directly involved. It highlighted the need for improved safeguards and the importance of maintaining trust within educational environments. The murder connected to the scandal unfolded in a chilling and dramatic manner, profoundly impacting everyone involved. The crime took place in the early hours of a quiet Saturday morning in a secluded area that was initially thought to be a safe haven from prying eyes. The victim was found in a local park, an area that had been frequented by the coach and student in the past. The scene was eerily calm, the tranquility of the park contrasting starkly with the violence that had occurred there. The murder scene was discovered by a passerby who noticed something amiss and alerted the authorities. When police arrived, They found the body of a young man, later identified as a key figure in the scandal, though not Ethan, who was still alive but deeply entangled in the aftermath. The victim had been brutally attacked, showing signs of a violent struggle. The area around the body was scattered with evidence of the confrontation, including items that had been thrown or knocked over during the struggle. The crime was committed using a weapon that was initially not immediately clear but was later identified as a blunt object found near the scene. The nature of the injuries suggested a high level of brutality and a personal motive behind the attack. The victim's injuries indicated that the attack was not random but rather targeted, raising questions about who might have had a personal vendetta or a strong emotional reaction to the unfolding scandal. Initial reactions to the discovery of the murder were marked by shock and confusion. The community was stunned by the violence that had erupted from a scandal that had already created significant tension and distress. There was a flurry of speculation and rumors as authorities began their investigation. People were anxious to understand the connection between the murder and the ongoing scandal, leading to a period of heightened media attention and public intrigue. Law enforcement launched a thorough investigation, trying to piece together the events leading up to the murder. They conducted interviews, examined forensic evidence, and reviewed surveillance footage in an attempt to identify suspects and motives. The initial stage of the investigation was characterized by a search for any links between the murder and the people involved in the scandal, including possible connections to the coach or the student. The murder, combined with the scandal, created a storm of controversy and drama that affected everyone involved, from the families to the community. The brutality of the crime and its association with the already tumultuous situation only deepened the sense of tragedy and urgency surrounding the case. The investigation into the murder began swiftly after the chilling discovery in the park, with police and forensic teams quickly mobilizing to uncover the truth behind the violent crime. Upon arriving at the scene, the authorities were met with a grim tableau. The victim, who was later identified as a key figure in the ongoing scandal, had been brutally attacked. The initial focus of the investigation was to determine the circumstances surrounding the victim's death and identify any potential suspects. As investigators started piecing together the evidence, their attention quickly turned to several possible leads. The nature of the murder, brutal and personal, suggested a motive rooted in deep emotional conflict or revenge. The police scrutinized the victim's connections and relationships, looking for any clues that might indicate why someone would commit such a violent act. In the early stages of the investigation, the coach, Thompson, emerged as a person of interest. This development came as a result of several key factors. Connection to the victim. Thompson's association with the victim, coupled with the ongoing scandal, naturally drew investigators' attention. Given the high-profile nature of the case and the personal nature of the murder, Thompson's connection to the scandal made him a prime subject of scrutiny. Witness statements. Some witnesses reported seeing Thompson in the vicinity of the park around the time of the murder. Though these sightings were not conclusive, they raised suspicions and led investigators to consider him a potential suspect. Behavior and motive. Thompson's recent behavior, marked by stress and agitation due to the unfolding scandal, provided a possible motive for involvement in the crime. The emotional strain and public backlash might have led to a volatile reaction, making him a focal point of the investigation. Forensic evidence. Initial forensic analysis of the crime scene revealed evidence that was consistent with the possibility of Thompson's involvement. This included the potential for personal items or traces linking him to the scene, though these details were not immediately disclosed to the public. The police conducted a series of interviews with Thompson, questioning him about his whereabouts and any potential involvement in the murder. Thompson maintained his innocence, asserting that he had no part in the crime and providing alibis and explanations for his activities at the time of the murder. Despite his protests, the evidence and his connection to the scandal kept him under close investigation. As the investigation progressed, authorities also explored other possible suspects and motives, ensuring that they considered all angles and potential leads. The intense media coverage and public interest in the case added pressure to the investigation, as the community awaited answers to the dramatic and troubling events. In summary, the investigation began with a focus on uncovering the truth behind the murder, with Coach Thompson emerging as a key person of interest due to his connection to the victim and the scandal. The early stages of the investigation involved gathering evidence, conducting interviews, and piecing together the circumstances surrounding the crime. As the investigation into the murder progressed, authorities began to suspect Coach Thompson due to several critical links between the affair and the crime. The connection was first made when investigators examined the victim's background and discovered that he had significant involvement with the scandal. It became clear that the victim had been aware of and possibly involved in the affair between Thompson and Ethan Mitchell. This was substantiated by various pieces of evidence, including incriminating text messages and emails that indicated the victim had been in a position to expose further details about the scandal. Witness testimonies played a crucial role in linking the affair to the murder. Several people reported that the victim had been vocal about his knowledge of the affair and had even threatened to reveal compromising information. This behavior created a motive for someone involved in the scandal to act out violently. Additionally, it was revealed that the victim had been in recent contact with Thompson, suggesting a direct and contentious relationship between them in the days leading up to the murder. Forensic evidence further implicated Thompson. Surveillance footage from cameras in the area captured a vehicle matching Thompson's description near the murder scene at the relevant time. This, coupled with forensic findings such as fingerprints or DNA at the crime scene, added weight to the suspicion that Thompson might have been involved. While the evidence was not conclusive, it significantly narrowed the field of potential suspects. Investigators also scrutinized Thompson's behavior and found inconsistencies in his account of his whereabouts on the night of the murder. His explanations did not fully align with the evidence gathered, raising doubts about his credibility. The emotional and public pressure stemming from the scandal could have provided Thompson with a motive to silence the victim, who had potentially threatened to expose more damaging information. The combination of these factors, the victim's knowledge of the affair, threatening communications, the forensic evidence, and discrepancies in Thompson's alibi, convinced authorities that Coach Thompson was a key suspect in the murder. This connection between the affair and the crime shaped the direction of the investigation, leading to a deeper focus on Thompson and his possible involvement in the tragic events. In the trial of Coach Thompson, the courtroom was filled with intense scrutiny as the case unfolded. The prosecution's case hinged on establishing a clear link between Thompson and the murder, while the defense aimed to undermine these claims and present an alternative explanation. The prosecution laid out their case by focusing on the forensic evidence gathered from the crime scene. Surveillance footage showed a vehicle matching Thompson's description near the park at the time of the murder. Forensic experts testified about the presence of DNA or fingerprints at the scene that could be linked to Thompson, suggesting his involvement in the crime. This evidence was crucial for the prosecution, as it placed Thompson in the vicinity of the murder. Witness testimonies played a significant role in the trial. Individuals who had seen Thompson near the park or who had overheard relevant conversations testified about his potential connection to the murder. They described the victim's threats to expose details about the affair, providing context for the possible motive behind the crime. These testimonies helped build a narrative of Thompson having a reason to silence the victim. In addition to witness accounts, the prosecution presented communications between Thompson and the victim. Text messages and emails revealed a strained and threatening relationship, indicating that the victim had knowledge of sensitive information regarding the affair. This suggested that the victim's potential to expose the affair could have been a motive for Thompson. On the other side, Thompson's defense team argued that the forensic evidence linking him to the crime scene was not definitive. They presented an alibi, claiming that Thompson was elsewhere at the time of the murder and provided evidence to support this, such as witness statements and digital records. The defense also proposed alternative theories, suggesting that others involved in the scandal or personal connections of the victim might have had reasons to commit the crime. The defense challenged the validity of the forensic evidence, questioning the accuracy of the surveillance footage and the handling of forensic samples. They argued that the text messages and emails, while concerning, did not directly prove Thompson's involvement in the murder. Additionally, the defense highlighted Thompson's positive reputation in the community, arguing that he was being unfairly targeted due to the scandal rather than solid evidence of guilt. Throughout the trial, the jury had to weigh the prosecution's evidence against the defense's arguments and determine whether Thompson was indeed responsible for the murder. The verdict ultimately depended on how the evidence was interpreted and the credibility of the testimonies presented. The trial of Coach Thompson concluded with a dramatic and intense verdict. After a lengthy legal process, the jury delivered their decision. Despite the significant evidence presented by the prosecution, including forensic details and witness testimonies, the defense's arguments and alibi cast reasonable doubt on Thompson's involvement. Ultimately, the jury found Coach Thompson not guilty of the murder. The verdict was based on the inability of the prosecution to conclusively link Thompson to the crime beyond a reasonable doubt. The forensic evidence, while suggestive, was not definitive enough to ensure a conviction, and the defense successfully challenged the reliability of the evidence presented. The acquittal led to a mix of reactions from the community and media. Some were relieved that the legal system had upheld the principle of innocent until proven guilty, while others were disappointed and felt that justice had not been fully served. The outcome left many questions unanswered and continued to stir debate about the case and its implications for all involved. The conclusion of Coach Thompson's trial generated a wide range of reactions from the community, families, and media, reflecting the emotional and social impact of the case. The community was deeply divided in their response to the verdict. Many felt a sense of relief that Thompson was acquitted, believing that the legal system had upheld the principle of innocence until proven guilty. Supporters of Thompson felt that the acquittal was a just outcome given the lack of conclusive evidence directly linking him to the crime. For them, the verdict was seen as a validation of Thompson's claims of innocence and a sign that the legal process had functioned correctly. However, there was also significant disappointment and anger among those who felt that justice had not been fully served. Some members of the community, particularly those closely following the case, believed that Thompson's acquittal left many questions unanswered. They felt that the trial's outcome did not address the broader implications of the scandal and its impact on the victim and their families. This sentiment was particularly strong among those who had supported the victim or who were concerned about the scandal's fallout. The families involved were profoundly affected by the trial's outcome. Thompson's family experienced a mix of relief and continued stress. While the acquittal meant that Thompson was not convicted of murder, the case had taken a toll on their personal lives and reputation. They faced ongoing scrutiny and stigma related to the scandal, despite the legal resolution. On the other hand, the victim's family grappled with the verdict's implications. They were deeply disappointed by the acquittal, feeling that it did not provide the closure or justice they had hoped for. The trial's conclusion was a painful reminder of the loss they had suffered, and they struggled with the public and media's ongoing focus on the case. The media played a significant role in shaping public perception of the case. The trial received extensive coverage, and the verdict was widely reported and analyzed. The media's portrayal of the trial's outcome varied, with some outlets emphasizing the legal principles and procedural aspects, while others focused on the emotional and human elements of the case. The media's coverage continued to fuel public debate and discussion about the trial and its broader implications. In summary, the trial's conclusion elicited a complex array of reactions. The community was split between relief and disappointment, the families faced ongoing emotional and social challenges, and the media continued to drive public discourse about the case and its impact. Here's a recap of the key events in the case involving Coach Thompson. Secret affair. Coach Thompson, a respected figure in his community, became involved in a secret romantic affair with Ethan Mitchell, a teenage student. This relationship was concealed due to its controversial nature. Thompson's position as a coach and Mitchell's age made it a potential scandal. The affair was marked by emotional intensity and secrecy, with both parties deeply invested in hiding their connection from the public. Murder. The scandal took a tragic turn when a murder occurred in a local park. The victim, connected to the affair, was found brutally attacked. The discovery of the body led to an intensive investigation. Forensic evidence and witness testimonies pointed towards a possible connection between the murder and Thompson, adding a layer of complexity to the case. The trial. The trial of Coach Thompson attracted significant attention due to the scandal and the serious nature of the charges. The prosecution presented evidence linking Thompson to the murder, including forensic details and witness testimonies. However, the defense argued that the evidence was circumstantial and presented an alibi for Thompson, challenging the prosecution's claims. In the end, the jury found Thompson not guilty of the murder. The verdict was based on the inability of the prosecution to prove Thompson's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. The outcome led to mixed reactions from the community, with some relieved by the acquittal and others feeling that justice had not been fully served. The case left lasting emotional and social impacts on all involved, including the families and the broader community. The case involving Coach Thompson raises several important and broader issues that extend beyond the immediate details of the scandal and the murder. Here are some key reflections. Power dynamics in relationships. The affair between Coach Thompson and Ethan Mitchell highlights the complexities of power dynamics in relationships. Thompson, as an authority figure, held a position of power and influence over Mitchell, which can create an imbalance in a relationship. This dynamic can lead to manipulative behavior and emotional dependency, as the less powerful party may feel pressured or coerced. The secrecy surrounding their relationship further complicates these dynamics, as the need to hide the affair can exacerbate feelings of isolation and control. Trust and betrayal. Trust plays a central role in both personal and professional relationships. In this case, the affair involved a significant breach of trust, not only between Thompson and Mitchell, but also within the broader community. The betrayal of trust had far-reaching consequences, affecting the victim, their family, and Thompson's reputation. The murder itself, driven by the fallout from the scandal, underscores how deeply personal betrayals can escalate into violence and tragedy. The impact of scandal. The scandal surrounding the affair and the subsequent murder exposes how public and private lives can become entangled, affecting individuals' reputations and well-being. The intense scrutiny and media coverage of the case highlight the challenges of maintaining privacy and dignity amid scandal. The personal and emotional toll on everyone involved, especially the families, demonstrates how scandal can disrupt lives and lead to further complications. Legal and ethical considerations. The trial raised questions about the legal system's ability to address complex cases involving personal relationships and emotional motives. It also underscored the ethical challenges faced by individuals in positions of authority and the responsibilities they have towards those they influence. The trial's outcome reflects the difficulty of proving guilt beyond a reasonable doubt in cases where evidence is circumstantial and emotional. Community and media influence. The case also illustrates the role of the community and media in shaping perceptions and influencing outcomes. The public's reaction to the trial and verdict, along with media coverage, reveals how external pressures and public opinion can impact the legal process and the individuals involved. It highlights the need for sensitivity and fairness in handling high-profile cases, particularly those involving personal and emotional issues. Overall, the case serves as a poignant reminder of the intricate and often challenging nature of human relationships, the consequences of betrayal, and the broader social and ethical issues that arise when personal scandals intersect with public life. As we reflect on the case of Coach Thompson, it's clear that it raises profound questions about the nature of power, trust, and the impact of personal relationships on our lives. The events that unfolded reveal the complexities of human behavior and the consequences of betrayal, both in personal and professional realms. In light of this, we might ask ourselves, how do we navigate the delicate balance between authority and personal connection, and what can we learn from the ways in which trust can be both a source of strength and a catalyst for conflict? As we ponder these questions, let us consider how the lessons from this case can inform our understanding of relationships, ethics, and justice in our own lives. The deeper implications of this case invite us to reflect on how we handle power and influence and the ways in which we address and heal from betrayal. As we continue to explore these themes, let's strive for greater empathy and insight into the human condition, recognizing the impact our actions and decisions can have on others.